he had counted on does not work, and he is forced to play king g8. Nothing to think about here. There it is. He usually reacts, he usually shows it, and I think now it's dawning on him there it is that this does not hold up, and his choice of giving away his pawn and playing for this e5 maneuver was not the way to play. I was impatient looking to fix the position, and he has a tendency to do that in defense, not to sit and wait. He tried to create a draw on the board directly, a fortress, and it turns out that it did not hold up, and now he's physically displaying the futility of the situation. Because this rook h7 is actually kind of nice, he forces the king to g8, he plays rook to e7, or rook over. The rook has to drop back to stop the threat of checkmate in 1 and king takes, and a moment ago the king was on h8, and there was a rook g8, but now with the king on g8, well, the g-pawn is just, it falls in with these two connected passers. That's all she wrote. Note, by the way, he only has one move. Yeah, he only has one move, and he's thinking, so this is the exact that speaks to the fact that he probably feels like he missed this move, although he would have lost anyway. But now that it's very, very clear, he's looking at it and he's realizing, and he only has one move, there's no reason to sit here. Why not just making g8 exactly and suffer about it later? You're just losing time on the clock for no reason, right? But it is now that it is hitting him emotionally, and he is very upset that this has occurred because he defended so well for so long, and that he just ditched his setup and allowed this for Magnus, and suddenly Magnus Carlsen is going to win and go into a three-way title first with a drawing of the lots to decide who moves. On giving himself a chance, somebody will be the odd man out. Incredible, as if we didn't have enough dramatic excitement, we knew the Sig Phil Cup. Despite the many draws and the fighting draws, we knew the Sig felt always delivers. At the very end, we always get so much excitement. This other game going on right now that has some nobody's completely irrelevant. I think Magnus knows that with FBL. I think he had that in his memory bank as he was watching this game. And the L has actually swindled an extra pawn, and he's in an end game with 2 pawns to the good, but quite frankly, absolutely. You know that, the fancy, that was like the airbag, defense a5, and g5 it just failed to deploy. Especially, it wasn't necessary. And, he's playing against the man who says, I don't believe in fortresses, talk about waving flag. Yeah, boy, but I mean, this is what it takes to win at the very highest level, and we've seen Magnus just grinding out these wins throughout his career. We saw it earlier in the tournament against Circuit. Yeah, and, Fabi isn't the pardon me, Caro is not going to be on Fabi's a Christmas. A list anymore. That's true. Magnus had defeated him in over 2 years after he said he was a regular customer of Right Magnus, and then he finally defeated him with Black Drew 6 games in a row. Take this one. This one was just looking very much like a draw, then made some really inexplicable decisions from a practical standpoint. It was better to sit and wait than it was to just toss a pawn and then toss your structure and dare the guy to figure out if there's a win. And you know, if there's a win, sit there and say, well, I got an extra pawn and your F-pawn's weak. Let's see what it's like. So a very in retrospect, but even when it was happening, it looked like a dubious decision on Nakamura's part. And it is simply crashed in his face right now, as this move will send him to his 3 setup to 3 losses in this tournament as well. And we will bring you the drawing of the lots live, as the other players are brought in. But yes, if the adjudication was based on judging, and you had to pick which 2 players deserved it most to be on the playoffs, how could you choose between these 3 because it's so different? Bobby maintained the lead throughout the tournament. There it is. Magnus Carlsen has joined the 3-way tie for first Magnus, the ultimate grinder, versus Fabiano, who just played so well defensively against Carlsen, showed that he was the front runner throughout the tournament. And then Levon, who played the most beautiful game of the tournament. I mean, how could you pick between these 3 players? As if you had to pick who would be out. I don't know.